what the Supreme Court and the bench of Justices Sanjeev Khanna and S.V.N. Bhatti, what they in fact said is this: we are very clear. Whether it is one side or the other side, they have to be treated alike. If anyone indulges in anything which we know as hate speech, they will be dealt with as per the law. Now, this is the statement that was in fact given. The remarks came while the bench was hearing a batch of petitions seeking action against hate speeches and the calls made by several groups of social economic boycott of Muslims after the new Gurugram communal violence in Haryana. So, the Supreme Court is also quite clear as per law. But for me, as a basic citizen, my understanding is this, that what I want to understand is this. Now, hate speeches doesn't happen, just by one person. People do engage in hate speeches, as rightly pointed out. AKG, let me in fact get you into the debate as well. When we talk about hate speeches, is it challenging that we don't have a law that would actually extend it further? Like Mr. Rao was saying that abetment to murder also should be included in it, because that person was responsible for creating trouble that went to violence where people lost their life. So is it required that instead of taking it two separate cases, we can bring in provisions for abetment for murder as well as into this hate speech category?
It is almost next to impossible to prove abetment to murder in such a case. How can you connect it with the hate speech? It's a very difficult job. In any case, abetment to murder in normal circumstances also is very difficult to prove. You have to collect a lot of evidence. There should be several people who depose. Best thing is, whenever such speeches are likely to be delivered, there should be proper police deployment there, intelligence deployment there, and the people who are giving hate speeches, they should know that whatever they are saying is being taped and action can be taken against them. They will automatically sober down. And if one or two people, they don't pay heed to police, then case should be registered against them and action should be taken under 153A. And in the new act, which has been proposed by the Government of India, by Mr. Amit Shah in Parliament, punishment has been increased in new IPC. Punishment has been increased in hate speech. It is, I think, up to 7 years now. So that is good enough. And people will realize that if you give hate speech, you won't be able to get away with it. You will have to go to jail. You can be arrested by police from the venue or later on. So it will have a lot of sobering effect on the people who are delivering nonsensical speeches, you can say.
Nonsensical, as you pointed out. But then we were discussing about the possibility of the law taking, and of course you were saying that in the new laws we have some increase in the the years as such. But then how do we also incorporate the fact that the amplification factor, when we talk about social media's amplification factor, we might have the source, the person who made it, behind bars. We can probably get that evidence. But then that speech tends to be circulated, it's there in the dark web. Once it's out, how do we try to in fact address those factors? Is there any law that says people who aid in amplifying hate speech also, is there any law that could actually bring them also under the book?
There is law for everything in this country, let me tell you one thing.
Okay.
But it is very difficult to implement it.
Even for people who are not directly linked with the hate speech.
If you start implementing it on social media, then there will be so many other issues which will crop up. Independence of social media, it is being attacked. People are not able to express their views. Best thing is, I have always maintained when I was in police that there should be no incident of no type anywhere. Such bandobast should be made that there is no communal riot, because once you have a communal riot, once you have a new-like situation, then things absolutely go out of control for months for police, and it takes months to normalize the situation. This is what has happened in Nu. Because of mishandling by Haryana police and Haryana administration and district administration, it went absolutely out of control. It was expected that there will be trouble. No arrangements were made. And that's why all this has happened in Gurugram and Faridabad, Palwal. so many places, and Mahapanchayats are being organized. Mismanagement on the part of one district has led to communal tensions in so many other districts. So best is you keep very good bandobast, take action against people on the spot. No provocative speeches should be allowed to be given during a procession. No weapons should be allowed to be carried, and the other party should also be told that if you create trouble, we will come down heavily on you. Once the message is clear, senior officers on the spot, I am 100% confirmed that there is not going to be any trouble. And if there is some small trouble, some brickbatting, they can be controlled within no time by the police who are present on the spot.
Well, okay. Mr. Rao, let me get you into, Mr. Jain says that, there's a law for everything, but it's very difficult to implement. And then you get into this question about whether there is freedom of speech or not and issues like that. But rather than that is to have proper police presence. But the fact remains is that the speech still can be made is the issue over here. So, but I was also asking that you can get the person who made that speech, but what about those who are amplifying the speech, who are copying it and putting it in various other? How do you if you get this person behind the source, you can convict him because he made it, but after that his voice just gets dispersed all across the place. So how is it possible to stop that speech from being amplified? Is there a law for that? And can we bring the same provisions of a person who made the hate speech against this person who's actually spreading this as well?
Yes, that is the most important, and that's the present problem, that any hate speech is being circulated in social media, that is being amplified, and the edited version is there. Some part is deleted, some part is added, with the having some same voice of that person is concerned. So this we need to add in our new laws, that such type of activities in social media and circulating these hate speeches are to be also banned, and not only banned, they should be made illegal, and the criminality should be involved in that such type of thing. Yes, I agree that there are law in our country which can stop everything, but there is a problem in implementation. But I will say that only in this case, when some hate speech is there and then the murder charges are being implemented on that, one thing definitely will be the deterrent, that the person who is having a fear that he may be also charged with a murder case. No doubt when he is acquitted or at the later stage. But initially when the investigation is done and the person is charged with the murder charges, doing that hate speech, person is charged with the murder because of his hate speech, that right took place, and then so many murders took place, then he should definitely be held responsible for that murder, which are, so that will be the long-lasting effect on the other people also, thinking that they may be charged with that, and the trial may start. But it is irrespective that there is no sufficient evidence to connect that person with that murder. That is separate issue, because in so many cases we have seen in India that persons are being charged and acquitted later on, but they have to suffer a ordeal of the trial also. That ordeal of trial should be having a fear in the mind of such people who are trying to do all these things. That will be also having a deterrent effect. So definitely another thing also, the persons who are doing all these things in social media, amplifying these speeches, they should also have a fear in mind, that some element of fear of law should be there in the mind of people, so that they can stop all these things, and they should think that by activities done by them, there may be a great loss to the normal public, and that innocent public or innocent people are being killed like this in such type of riotous situation. So the government now should think about very seriously to amend the laws on the social medias and the circulation of social medias, and there should be some check and balances with the service providers of these WhatsApp and other things, so that they should also come into the ambit of the correction by the government.